this episode of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Nick Brody. I am joined alongside my co-host and good friend London Beth. And today we are bringing the updates of what's going on from the first week of Chicago Bears training camp. Justin Fields had a much improved day, according to reports, compared to the first 2 days of camp. Andy Dalton struggled a little bit, but still did look solid. The defense was on a whole new level. That's why Andy Dalton struggled a little bit, especially my guy, Robert Quinn. We said it here first. He's back, baby. It's only 3 days in, but I'm already saying he's back. I'm too excited to hear that Robert Quinn, our $15 million man, is doing well. Darnell Mooney and Allen Robinson look like a legitimate wide receiver threat duo in the NFL, according to Matt Nagy, and more reports than that. So if more people are saying it than Nagy, I'm feeling good about it. You guys should be too. I know London does. And Marquise Goodwin is quickly becoming a leader. And then the one thing that we unfortunately want to kind of hit on is the offensive line looked bad today. No, there was no shining light, according to reports. We're going to get into that in a minute. But before we begin, we like to thank our sponsor, Stupid Car Tray. Tired of your pizza toppings sliding, office coffee distracting you while driving, grease and other stains getting on your seat, or you're just enjoying a game on the couch and don't want to lean over? Look no further than the Stupid Car Tray. Proudly USA made, Stupid Car Tray makes your passenger seat or couch a level surface for all transportation and couch potato needs. With accessories like the Stupid Seat Anchor, hand sanitizer bottle, or 100% silicone grip mat, your tray is the ultimate car organizer. With over 20 different color combinations, there's a Stupid Car Tray for everyone. Visit www.stupidcartray.com and use discount code J16 to get 16% off your entire order. Link in the description.
It's stupidly obvious why no one thought of this. Honestly, I love pizza. Buy one. Let's jump into it, Nick.
Let's jump into it. A flop of quarterback stories today at camp. And when we say flop, it's been toe-to-toe, so it just went to Justin Fields today. Justin Fields was the quarterback winner of today, according to reports. London's sipping on his coffee right now because he knows exactly what you're all thinking. Starter week one. Everyone, it's one day. Kind of like me with Robert Quinn, it's one day. But Justin Fields looked much better today at practice compared to the first two. He was connecting really well with his wide receivers. He was threading the needle, apparently, so beautifully. It was like the Mona Lisa of passes for a rookie quarterback. So London, initial reaction, thoughts hearing that Justin Fields had a much improved day.
Yeah, I mean, Nick, we talked about it. I mean, I knew that he's an ultra competitor. I knew he was going to come out and he was going to have some sort of revenge day. I know Jesse James coming from the Steelers. He's been connecting really well with him. Riley Ridley, we talked about, Javon Wims. So like those second team guys, he's been connecting really well with, which is something that we should be excited about. The big Justin Fields is I'm happy he's struggling, but I'm happy every day he's coming out and he's trying to be better. That's exactly what you want to see from a rookie quarterback, in training camp, because this defense is no joke. I know we're going to get into it. And I saw him like on one of the videos do like a crazy sidearm pass and hit a receiver and whatever. And I was like, man, if that was Patrick Mahomes or anybody else, you know what I mean? Deshaun Watson or Aaron Rodgers or whatever, ESPN would be freaking out. So, hey, they're not putting them on notice yet, but they will soon. Watch yourself, ESPN. We're coming.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen because they didn't put him on Hard Knocks. Like, come on. Like, ESPN's going to be like, oh, we got a little something going on in the quarterback position over in Chicago. But, yeah, no, he looked fantastic today. Shout out to Justin Fields. Again, DH Gate, $10, $15 jersey I got, fully stitched. Love it. Barely any mistakes. When I say barely, like, the tag is slightly off. But I'll put the link in the description again for it. But anyway, back to just overall looked really good. And Jesse James, by the way, the Bears signed him to a veteran max contract. He came from the Pittsburgh Steelers, also played for the Detroit Lions. And I think Jake Butt had told I laugh every time. I think he told the Chicago Bears that he was retiring. That is why we brought him in. So kudos to him. He had a really sick catch, like London was talking about. Go check out the Bears Twitter. It looks unbelievable. But let's go to the other guy that we're going to talk about today. Andy Dalton didn't have a terrible day, but it was rough. He did play against the first team defense. It was probably his worst day out of the three. He was picked off twice, once by Roquan Smith at the line of scrimmage, and then again by Bilal Nichols on two different plays. Claps to them. We love when the defense is getting takeaways, something that the Bears have been missing and something that London and I said is going to happen a lot under Coach Desai. And we're going to get into the defense in a minute. That's probably the most exciting topic to talk about today. But yes, Andy Dalton struggled. He is a human being. It wasn't a horrible day, though. Andy Dalton's bad day is a Mitch Trubisky great day. So let's just put that into perspective. London, he was hitting deep balls really well. He continued to mentor Justin Fields and really kind of like show him the in and outs of what to do. And he was being, Mr. Answer to everything because everyone was still coming up to him. So London, even though he had a bad day, thoughts on Andy Dalton report for day 3 of camp?
I mean, again, he's still a veteran and he's still been 11 years in the NFL. I don't think the Dallas Cowboys had these kind of defensive players that the Chicago Bears do, even, in training camp. And I honestly don't think the Cincinnati Bengals have this kind of defense all the years he was there that we do. I know we'll talk about Khalil Mack and we'll talk about some few other players coming up, but it's tough. You know what I mean? When top to bottom, your defense is like a top 3, top 5, and you're going up against them every single play. You're going to run into some stuff, but honestly, Andy Dalton, I heard a lot of good things about him. I heard a little bit of struggles today, but that's going to happen when you're going up literally against one of the most elite defenses in the NFL. It is what it is. It is what it is.
It is what it is. And in all honesty, I think that the Chicago Bears, like you kind of said, like it's good for the quarterbacks though. Cause if you're going against a top 10, top 5 defense, depending on, where you look at the Bears defensive rankings as a whole and how you would rate them personally.
Yeah.
Overall, it was just it's good for him to struggle because it's going to make him better when it comes to the season. And then last guy, Nick Foles, he's just ripping up the third team. His trade value just keeps going up. And not sure if you guys have heard, but Carson Wentz, the guy that some people were upset the Bears didn't get, other people were happy. The people that are happy that we didn't get him are super happy right now because he is out indefinitely with a foot injury. Potentially has to undergo surgery. Nick Foles just became a very popular guy, potentially in Indianapolis. London was telling me before the podcast, I would be fully fine with Nick Foles going to Indianapolis and redeeming himself. London, this is all you, man. You love this stuff. So what are you thinking about this?
Yeah, the Nick Foles saga has kind of became my bread and butter in training camp. Jeff Dickerson said this. He goes, and I quote, Nick Foles versus the third team the entire training camp so far is literally unfair. And that's something we've been saying on this podcast over and over again. And Jeff Dickerson, the ESPN Chicago reporter, just verified it. You know what I mean? He's seen it live. He verified it. And the biggest thing that we said in the last podcast is if Nick Foles continues to do this, it's going to show that he is not a third string. He's not a third string, and he's a second string, possibly a first string. I would die laughing because I have a buddy who's a big Colts fan. If they trade for Nick Foles, they can give us back a fourth. You know what I mean? They have the cap over there in Indy. Nick Foles comes in, takes him to a playoff, and Carson Wentz is sitting the bench again, just like in Philly. Oh my gosh. Tell me that is not storybook. So
wouldn't that be crazy?
It's just great. It's great.
I'd be all about it. And, we want the best for Nick Foles. He's a great guy. He's a great teammate to have overall. I'd be super excited about it. But let's get into the guys that are making plays for Andy Dalton, Justin Fields, and Nick Foles. Allen Robinson and Darnell Mooney, man, they are looking like a legitimate NFL threat duo for whoever our quarterback is. Matt Nagy is very impressive. It's not even Matt Nagy. Adam Hodge is there. Daniel Greenberg is there. Like a lot of these guys are like, this is crazy, the improvement and how close their relationship is between the two. It's really nice to see, Allen Robinson being that leader and Darnell Mooney being that up and coming guy, connecting really well and having a strong relationship at camp. And then on top of it, Marquise Goodwin, he has gotten praise from everyone. And, London and I have talked a lot about him. He's definitely going to make the roster in our eyes just because of this. He is a mentor. And he is a leader of the younger guys. He's talking with Allen Robinson. This is obviously Allen Robinson's room. There is no doubt about that. But Marquise Goodwin is the veteran of the squad. He's got the most experience, and he's really taking that leadership role to heart. And I really respect him for that. So kudos to Marquise Goodwin. But London, when you hear that the Bears wide receiver room is doing as well as it is, what is your initial reaction? And can you continue to see this in camp?
Oh, yeah, 100% I can see this in camp. I think the biggest and most awesome thing about the Allen Robinson, Darnell Mooney stuff is literally the reports are saying that they're inseparable. They eat together. They sleep together in the same room in, Hallis Hall. They, the whole 9 yards. They practice together, all that kind of stuff. So it's really, really awesome to hear that they are just absolutely kicking some butt out there. And I think they're going to be a bona fide, like duo wide receiver duo wide receiver group in the NFL. Marquise Goodwin, kudos to you, man. Again, another guy we brought in, another guy that is using that kind of that veteran leadership in the locker room. Very excited for him. But I also hear he's been catching a lot of deep balls. So
yeah, a lot.
That's speed.
Absolutely. So overall, super good news from the offensive side of the ball. London, let's go to the script and go down into the defensive side of the ball. The defense is looking mean. And when we mean like today, they made havoc for Andy Dalton and Justin Fields. It's right as we started, Roquan Smith and Bile Nichols literally both picked off Andy Dalton at the line of scrimmage. And it's Nichols, a defensive lineman's picking off Andy Dalton. Like, he's obviously getting up there, making plays for himself. We are attacking the quarterback and the running backs at all costs. It was a very hard day for a lot of these guys on the offensive side of the ball because the defense was playing so well. Not only that, the offensive line could not contain them. We're going to get a little bit more into the offensive line in a little bit, but when you have Khalil Mack, Roquan Smith, Eddie Goldman, Robert Quinn, Akeem Hicks, all rushing at you, yeah, you're going to struggle. And that's going to make the offensive line better. But the defense is looking like 2018 so far and something super exciting. So, London, initial thoughts before we get even more into on the defense.
We were right about Bilal Nichols. We told him and we said, hey, man, you got to come out and you got to absolutely dominate and you got to kind of take that position, from having a really, really good, almost a breakout year last year. I'm happy to hear he's doing well. From reports, I mean, I hear that our offensive line is struggling, but Khalil Mack, I hear, is just living in the backfield. He's been all, I'm done talking, all action. And that's a big man to be living in the backfield. That's a big man to be living in the backfield. So very excited. And like I said, we've been predicting our defense was going to take a huge step forward under Coach Desai. We were right, and we continue to see it.
Sorry, take that to the bank. Take it to the bank, and the bank's closed on Sundays. But guess what? We'll make it work. We'll open up some sort of bank for you guys to go get your cash. But like London was saying, Khalil Mack and Jeremiah Atachu, the new guy from Denver, had the best rush of the day, according to Adam Hodge. He had a nifty spin move on the outside, made it work, broke some ankles on the offensive line, and was able to get to Andy Dalton without they're not in pads yet. They're not tackling each other. So looked really, really good. Robert Quinn also had his best practice so far out of the last couple of days. Awesome to hear. Alex Brown was the guy that said, hey, this is Robert Quinn's comeback year. And I jumped on that train. London has jumped on that train, it seems like, with me as well. He looked really good. He looked like his old self from the Dallas days and at the time, St. Louis Rams days. Let's hope this keeps up. He needs to get his money. He needs to help out Khalil Mack. And if he does well, the defense is going to do well because it takes pressure off the linebackers that there's going to be a play. So awesome to hear that. And I want this next one to go to London. Kindle Vildor. What did he do, London? What did he do that you predicted he was going to do? And how is he looking so far with what he's doing? Tell the folks.
He's running with the first team, Nick. Oh, I am so excited.
He's running with the first team.
I know. We go back and watch our secondary thing. We said that he was going to have a breakout year. We said that he could possibly push for the first team like nickel. Honestly, maybe in the first corner, since we haven't heard much from Desmond Trufant. And he's running with the first team. I hear he looks really, really good. And Ryan Pace hyped him up, and he hyped him up for a good reason. We hyped him up. We hyped him up for a good reason. Listen, we don't do this. We don't say these things just, to put them out there. Kindle Vildor is having an absolute great training camp, which we predicted. He's running with the first team right now. Chicago fans, you should be so excited because when we have two good corners, especially a good nickel corner, if that's the position he plays, our defense is lights out. Absolutely lights out under Coach Desai.
And I just want everyone to know it's only his second year. All I got to say that golf it's claps. Only his second year. Yeah, a little golf clap. And then they overall brought the defense itself brought the energy today. Coach Desai's squad was taunting the offensive side of the ball, getting in their heads, making them want to work harder. They were just like a bunch of guys being dudes. The boys were buzzing, whatever you want to say out there. But it was the reports are awesome to see. I would love to find some video on Twitter. Apologies for not having anything on our Twitter, but please go check it out. There will be updates over the day. But man, our Twitter and our Instagram, but man, just hearing that they're bringing that, like that, jockey, like I'm better than you energy to the offense, that's going to make them work harder. That's going to make the defense do a lot better. I'm excited to see interceptions taken to the house in the Bears touchdown celebrations this year. Cause I want to see Akeem Hicks like jiggle the belly a little bit this year. So, I'm all about it. I would love to see, and if it happens, something's going to happen if Akeem Hicks takes one to the house this year. Something is going to happen. More tuned to that. Comment below what you guys think we should do. Anything but streaking, not trying to get evicted from my apartment complex. But overall, great day by the defense. Last thing we're going to hit on really fast is the offensive line. We talked very highly of them in our offensive line episode, and so far, they have been struggling against the top defensive unit. Again, a top 5, top 10 unit, depending on how you look at it. And a lot of them are young, a very young offensive line. Tevin Jenkins is running with them again, but they looked bad today, according to reports. Could be due to no pads because, as an offensive lineman, you get that advantage. I mean, Khalil Mack would know there's holding all the time. You're able to get your hands up on the shoulder pads. You're able to push a guy around, maybe take them off their feet. That could be why. Just trying to look at the positives here. The offensive line, though, does have a lot of work to go through, though, but much improved again from the last training camp to this year's training camp. London, what are your reactions hearing that the offensive line is the only group right now that is seeing significant struggles?
I mean, it's a mixed bag for me, Nick. They're young. Okay. We know they're young. We went through them. We know they're young. We got a rookie in Tevin Jenkins. We got a bunch of really young guys. And we have a very experienced defensive line, like literally one of the best and most experienced defensive lines in the NFL, including a guy by the name of Khalil Mack. So I'm not surprised by it. I think it's kind of a mixed bag, though. I think it's actually good for them that they're getting beat up because they're not, they're maybe going to see as good of a defensive line, maybe against the Rams and a few other teams, but really you're not going to see a better one in our division. Maybe the Vikings, if they can stay healthy. So maybe it's a mix, so maybe it's a good thing. On the bad side, though, is confidence. You know what I mean? If you're sitting here getting your butt kicked over and over and over and over and over again, it just gets to you. I know Khalil Mack was living in the backfield, and that's really, really tough. So I hope that our offensive line, the leaders like Cody Whitehair are sitting down, going through stuff. And honestly, it could be a good thing, though. But right now, I'm sure it's got to be tough when you're just getting smacked in the mouth over and over and over again. I know that from experience. So.
Yeah, unfortunately, it is what it is, but it's the third day of training camp. These guys probably aren't used to a healthy Robert Quinn either. So let's just also put that out there. But what a week so far for training camp. We're really excited about it. Again, we've been posting every day for you guys, and we really appreciate your support. So we're excited. Head into the weekend knowing the Bears had a great Friday practice. And shout out to everyone that has been giving out leaked reports and pictures. I know a lot of reporters aren't really taking pictures of training camp, but like the people that are fortunate enough to go to training camp, thank you very much for, providing us with the insight and information. But with that, London, busy week for us. Enjoy the weekend off. We really appreciate it as always. But my name is Nick Rohde, joined alongside my co-host London Beth, and we will see you guys on Monday.